YouTube makes the most sense for sure. We can't just abandon YouTube. YouTube is good.
YouTube will never abandon you.
Never YouTube. My sons watch a show called Unspeakable I think it's Unspeakable. I don't know. We just bought Grayson a hat, and these guys literally just like ride go-karts and like play games. And I'm like,
oh, really?
Okay. Like if this gets hits on YouTube, then it's just a matter of time, Big Z.
Bro, anything gets hits on YouTube, man. Like, yeah, people streaming video games.
You know what we need to do? You know what's going to get us hits on YouTube? Next time we go to All You Can Eat Sushi, we need to set a camera up so people can see.
So they can just see our pain at the
domination. So people can see the amount of just fat boy, pure joy.
We do dominate it. We truly dominate do. Remember that one? We went, it was not last time, it was the time before, and we ordered probably the max per round that you can get, and the guy was just looking at us, like judging us.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, bro, you don't know who we are.
I almost died on the way home. Like, I almost didn't walk out of there. Like, that's how much.
Well, we had to prove him wrong, and we did. We proved him wrong. Like, we're Big Z and Fredo, dog.
You gotta do what you
don't know.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
Give us the 2 bottles of sake, and then give us, what was it, like 20 rounds of sashimi?
Bring it on, baby. Bring it on.
We did it.
That's how we do it. Look at it. It's not even hockey season. I got my King shirt on. What's up?
I got nothing today. Just plain old American Eagle XLT.
America, baby. What are you talking about? It's the Olympics. America. There you go. Boom.
American Eagle. Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure.
Eagle.
Navy.
Boom.
Blue. Yeah, that's right.
Eagle.
The national bird.
Come on. Come on, baby.
Come on, son.
Come on, son.
Come on, son. Come on. Big Z. Big Z, man.
Freaking Big Z. Just put yourself down for no reason. Come on.
I know, man. I know. It's a thing. It's a thing, but
it is
we're working through that.
We're getting there. We're getting through that.
We're working through it. That's right. All right, YouTube. That's enough for the nice little session here. We're gonna go over to our actual thing. Do. Getting pumped already. I'm getting pumped, man.
Yes, sir.
Boom, 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 boom. And
here we go. Yes. We love it, and we are back. It is Brevity Sports. We told you we were going to be more consistent, and that's exactly what we're pulling off. We are more consistent, Big Z. Turns out, when I'm not having to travel around and go everywhere for baseball, I'm a little bit more consistent. I love it.
Yeah, it's not that we're more consistent. I think we're just getting back to normal. That's it. And it wasn't that we weren't consistent before, because we were consistently trying to find time.
Yes.
Just sometimes it just didn't work.
Yep.
But now we're back to normal. And our normal is consistency for the fans. Consistently good content, consistently good conversation about sports. So, yes, sir. We are back. We're back, sir. I'm excited. I'm excited.
Back. Man. Big Z, how's your week been? It's been a week. How you been? What's new? Talk to me.
Yeah, dude. So this week, the fam, we went and toured a preschool for Oliver. So it is that time, man. It is that time.
Oh, snap.
And so we were like, you know what? Let's see how he does. So we go in, we knock on the door, ring the doorbell thing, whatever. And they come out, and he was like, I'm going to school. I'm going to school. I'm like, yes, man, you're going to school. And so he went in all the classes. And every time he went in, there was kids in there because there's like summer session. And he would run straight to the kids, start doing the activities that they did. Like, he started painting, like no matter like how old they were, like there were some kids older than him. He just went, and I think we visited 3 classrooms. He did the same thing in all the classrooms. And then at the end, we went to like the play structure, and he was like, he just kept going around while we're talking to the director. He's like, this is so fun. This is so fun. This is so, like, for like 10 minutes. Like, okay, he's ready. He's ready to go to preschool. And so, yeah, he starts in September, man. We're pretty excited because that's the time that he can officially start because of his age. So,
it's funny. They start at like, oh, I can't wait to go to school. And then that turns into like 5 years later, like, what have I done? Like, right? I could have just been at home and
Yeah.
never gone to school. Like, what did I do?
Right.
But no, that's great. I mean, and he's gonna love it. He's such a social butterfly. He's gonna
Oh,
kill
he
it.
is, man. Like today we were after dinner, we went on a walk and our neighbor behind us, he's cleaning out his trash can and Oliver is just like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "I'm cleaning out my trash can." He's like, "Oh, that's yucky. Trash is yucky." And he just starts like talking. I'm like, "Oliver, like, let's go, man." Like he's doing something and he's like, "No, Dad, like you can go." I'm like, "What, dude?"
No, Dad, I'm
Um,
having a conversation. I'm about to
I'm having a
crack a
conversation.
beer. My boy
Stop.
Joey over here.
Yeah,
Come
man.
on.
Like, just stop it, Dad. And it's so crazy. Every day we woken up, he's like, "Am I going to school today?" I'm like, "Nah, not today." But it's exciting, man. It's crazy just to see him grow up and like it's
Uh,
gone so fast. So it's cool, man. But how about you? How's your first full week of like Fredo, regular dad,
so
husband life? How's it back at it?
I'm not gonna lie to you. You know when you think that you're doing a good job and you're like convinced that like you're doing like everything you should be doing, and then something ends and it stops taking up a bunch of your time. You're like, ooh, I need to fix this and this and this.
Yeah.
That's sort of been this week. So like all
Okay.
of my pools are dialed. Like I like in saying this, I think I at the start of this week I had 3 pools that were showing algae. All of them are solved. There's not an issue, and it wasn't
Of
all over the
course.
pool. It wasn't all over the pool, but there was just fixes that needed to take place.
Yeah.
Like I clearly would have noticed had I been like super locked in. But like when you're running around pools and then like you're also thinking like, what's the lineup going to be tonight? Like who's going to pitch? Like whatever it is. Yeah,
Right.
some things fall through the cracks, and so like I'm not gonna lie, it's been some makeup. It's been some ground makeup, but also too, it's just hot. It's just like part of it is that, but the majority of it is, I mean, I got to, I'll give you a great example. I got to a house the other day and there's some algae in there. And my customers aren't mad. I'm not one of those lazy pool guys. So everybody sees me, distracted or not, whatever. I'm one of those guys that like, if your pool doesn't look great, like I'm back there until it looks good. Like there's
Yeah.
not like
Right.
I'm just leaving
100%.
you unless there's a couple customers that I told them, hey, your pool really sucks. And I'm like, no, I do know it sucks. If you could just help me out, I'm like, cool. So we have like a special agreement. But like so I'm like I'm back there doing my thing, and all of a sudden the dog just jumps into the pool, and the lady comes out. She's like, I don't know what's going on with the pool. I was like, well, I got an idea. If that dog is swimming every day, you're gonna be in a bad way. So a lot of people
Yeah.
don't know, and I think I mentioned it before. A lot of people don't know if a dog jumps into a pool, that's equivalent like 10, 15, 20 people, depending on the hair of the dog, minimum 10
Ugh.
jumping into your pool. Like just the oils
Yeah.
of the dogs. So I'm like,
Right.
have you guys been swimming every day? She's like, yeah, the dog's been there every day, and we've been jumping in too. I'm like, yeah, we need a salt cell. Like, there's no way around this. We need a salt cell. Got the salt cell. Pool solved. So, but, I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. It's been tiring. It's been a long, tiring week. Tiring week. Just getting everything back up to snuff. Really, just refocusing and getting re-energized. A couple long days. I'm not gonna lie. And also the biggest part of that is actually making extra money, which is nice because now once again I'm taking on the extra stuff. Before I
Yeah.
was like,
Right.
hey, I can't come look at that pool. Actually, I have practice at 5. Like I can't. I need
Right.
to go home. I need to eat. I need to shower. I need to like reset, refresh so I can be the best coach I can be. So now it's like, oh, hey, can you come look at my pool? It's really ugly. I'm like, yeah, cool. Like literally in the last look. So what? All Stars ended the week before last, right?
Yeah. Right.
In the last week, I've added 4 pools. Like
Nice.
that is what I've been ignoring. So that's
Yeah.
sort of the other piece of the pie is that like all of a sudden now my pool's super green. And like 2 weeks ago, I was like, oh, that sucks. I'm sorry, I'm not taking that on right now. Now this week I'm like, yeah, dude, I'll be there 1 or I'll be there 2. Like let's get cracking on this thing. And so yeah, it's all good. It's just tiring, but it's been good. It's been
Yeah,
hot,
man.
humid, you know,
It's
and
gross. It's been gross lately. Yeah.
yeah. Oh,
It's
dude,
we're in the peak of summer, man. We're in
today
the
like
peak of
rained.
it.
Today like drizzled. What are we,
It
Arizona?
was weird today.
Crazy.
It was cloudy all day, and then all of a sudden, like at 4 o'clock, it cleared up, and like the sun started beaming again. And I'm like, what is going on? Like it was a cooler day, and then it's boom back at it. I'm like, dang it,
Not here for
couldn't
it.
escape it.
I'm not here for the
I'm
what do you
not,
call it?
man.
The
I hate the heat. I hate it.
when it's wet. When it's wet outside though, specifically humid.
Humid.
I'm not here for the humidity. I'm
No.
just not. I'll take on 100-degree dry heat day all
Oh
day
yeah, 100%.
before I take on like 80s humid. Like 80s humid is killer to me. Killer. And then the mosquitoes are everywhere. It's
Yeah,
like they're
man.
like, this is my life. I'm ready. I'm like, oh, this is terrible. This is
Yeah,
terrible.
it's terrible. But it's August. It's August. We're 1 month closer to NFL officially starting. But tonight, the Hall of Fame game,
That's
dude,
right.
it was back. It got
was
canceled
back.
because of weather after like 3 quarters, but it was back. No Caleb Williams. No CJ Stroud, but we have football back. So
We did
that's
it.
cool. That's
We
cool.
did
We
it.
did it. We survived another long offseason, the longest offseason of all the professional sports. It's now officially back. I'm pumped.
Can I
I'm
tell you
pumped.
this is my issue. This is how you know I'm a freak. When you're like, we're like, we're so much closer to. I thought for sure you're like Christmas. I'm so I love Christmas so much. I
Oh yeah.
am we're closer. We're closer. And I'm excited about that too. But yes, football, first and foremost, we did it. We drafted. We talked about that last week on our
We did.
podcast. Since then, we've had some major trades go down, Big Z. And I gotta say, I think I was a part of the first real blockbuster trade in our league. Would you agree?
I'd say so. I would 100% say so.
Because there's been some pieces moving. We saw like Pickens like get on the move. We see a couple,
Yeah.
like picks get on the move. But those listening to this podcast, check this out. Dynasty half point PPR. I had CD Lamb on my roster, and the guy next to me, the guy that I talk to all the time, Jason Showman, he's a big Cowboy fan. I'm a big Rams fan. He's a big Cowboy fan. I said, listen, we both want to root for our teams, and we want to root for our teams for years to come. Right?
Yes.
Assuming
Yeah. Yeah.
that our team sign their guys, want to root for our team. Like, let's figure something out, man. So we were going back and forth, go back and forth. It wasn't happening. I had actually resigned myself to the fact that it was never going to happen. And I was like, all right, CD Lamb's going to be mine, and I'm fine with that. I think personally, if we talked about it last podcast. If I won one, I'm picking CD Lamb. I was 1-2. Jamar Chase goes, makes my job easy. I take CD Lamb. Like I was happy with it.
Yep.
So I'm totally fine with this. And I wake up Tuesday morning, talking to my boy. And he goes, hey man, I sent you a trade, but I need you to tell me before you accept it. I'm like, no, dude, you got to revoke it. Like if I see it and I like it, I'm pushing the accept button. Like, that's how this works.
Yeah, that's how that works, man.
If you don't want to do this, you need to pull it back. So I get on my phone and I see CD Lamb, Chubb, and Mims for Nakua and Garrett Wilson. And I could not push accept fast enough. I was like, boom, accept. I was like, sorry, dude, my finger slipped.
He had guilt right away, man. He's like, no, why did I send that? Why don't just hit,
don't you push this.
Just hit withdraw. Like that's why the feature's there.
That's
Jason.
why it's there. But he knew what he was doing. He wanted CeeDee Lamb, and I consoled him. I was like, dude, you got your boy. You got arguably the best receiver for years to come. CeeDee Lamb is insanely talented. He's one of the only guys there. I think there's probably 2 or 3 guys in the NFL right now that nobody can cover. I've seen Jamar Chase be slowed down. I've seen certain guys get slowed down. What you look at, like Tyreek Hill, real hard to slow him down. People have slowed him down, but it's very hard. CeeDee Lamb, no one has figured this guy out. He's the only weapon they've had, the only legitimate weapon they've had, I would say. I know a couple years ago, people would argue like Zeke or, Ferguson, whatever it is. And I'm like, dude, come on.
Well, they had Amari, but yeah.
But that was the last one. That's what I'm saying. That was their last time, though. The last time they had like a legitimate other receiver was Amari Cooper. And since then, it's like every team that goes into Dallas knows, hey, we need to stop CeeDee Lamb and we're going to be okay. And they just can't do it.
Yeah, they can't. They can't.
I mean, look at the numbers. I mean, they had the most potent offense 2 years in a row. Yeah. It's proof is in the pudding, man. CeeDee Lamb is a big part of that. Best receiver on the best offense as of last year. I was like, look, you can't be mad at that. And of course, I'm not going to be mad because I got my boy Puka. I got Garrett Wilson, who, if Garrett Wilson can put on a show with Zach Wilson, bro.
Imagine with a healthy Aaron Rodgers. I mean, last year he was everything. Like we were talking actually 2 years ago, like he came onto the scene as a rookie with Zach Wilson as quarterback.
Yep.
And so like in last year, we're like, oh man, this is the guy. Aaron Rodgers is there now. He's going to be the next number 1 stud in fantasy football. Unfortunate, what happened to Rodgers with the Achilles. But dude, if they hook up this year and they're just vibing, like it looks like they are in camp. Ooh, it's going to be good, man. So you're good for years to come. And a lot of people are kind of making a big deal about Rodgers and Wilson. Like they're going to arguing at camp, having some tough conversations, but I like that, that's good.
Yeah.
Like that builds rapport. Yeah. But yeah, your team it's good now. Like you got Puka, who's a stud. Like I think Puka's one of those guys, like he's such a hard worker. He's also a big dude that like no matter what quarterback's going to come into the Rams after Stafford leaves, because he's probably gone after this year. Like Puka's still going to be the guy. He's going to be the number 1 guy on that team 100% for the next 5-6 years, as long as they re-sign him. So You're good, man. You're golden. I love the trade.
What I like most about Puka is that he's not a speedster. Already, he's not a speedster.
It's a
He's not
route
a
runner.
speedster. He's
He's a
not
strong
big. He's
guy.
not fast.
Yeah.
And where have we seen that before? At Longevity Cooper Cup. The longevity of Cooper Cup's
Right.
career. I hope to get the same thing from Puka. Garrett Wilson, obviously a dog. I love the trade. First blockbuster trade.
That's
I'm
right.
all about it. We've been trying to pull off some trades, Big Z. Not everybody wants to dance, but we do what we can.
We do what we can. I mean, I did one. I did one the other day. What did I do? So I traded. I traded away a 2026 first round pick. So I'm kind of reaching. But my thought process here was it's not next year's first round pick. Next year's draft class is supposed to be Sedley. So I'm keeping my 2025 first round. And I have time to get that back. Like I can make a bunch of trades between now and 2026 to get a first round pick back for that year's draft class. I got back Deebo Samuel and a fifth round pick for 2025. So I got some draft capital for next year. I like Deebo just because I mean, with the whole Brandon Ayuk situation, I mean, I think that they're going to figure it out. Brandon Ayuk will be back.
Yeah.
But with the new kickoff, the new thing that the NFL is doing, Deebo is going to be returning kicks. And you get points for that if he gets touchdowns. It's a big dynamic thing, and there's going to be a lot more receiving touchdowns or return touchdowns off kickoffs. And Deebo's just one of those guys that I think they're going to utilize more in the offense this year because if you look at CMC, his usage was pretty high last year in the passing game more so, but I don't think that they're going to definitely take some of that away just because they want to keep him healthy because he's a dog, but like you can't just overuse him. And I think that's where Deebo comes in. And so I want to, there's that balance in dynasty. Like, do you win now or like you just throw everything away to win now or or you want to keep both, right? You want to have the future and also win now. You want to compete, right? And so, I think my roster is good enough to like make the playoffs. And then once you're in the playoffs, right, anything can happen. And so Deebo definitely shores up the bottom of my lineup. And I liked it. Like, I just think that like he just adds a lot of versatility to my team. So that was my big trade so far. Look, I've been trying to do some other stuff too, but that I like it. I like it for sure.
A lot of guys get too caught up in the future, especially when it comes to dynasty. For those of you who don't know, we talked about it on our podcast last week. Dynasty means keeper league, means we keep our players, right? So we draft the guys, those are going to be our guys until we drop them or they retire, whichever one comes first. We might drop them. Say we draft 5 rookies. You draft rookies every year. You get 5 rounds of rookies. And then you decide you want to keep your rookies, you want to drop your vets. What do you want to do with that? A lot of guys get kind of caught up in that. And that's how, one of the guys that really capitalized after really kind of the dust settled, you look at the points that he's projected. One of the guys in our league did a pretty great job of, you're looking at down the barrel at Dak Prescott, Christian McCaffrey, Tyler Etienne, Devontae Adams, Mike Evans, Stephon Diggs, Travis Kelce, Cooper Kupp, Aaron Jones, and everybody kind of, even in the draft, there's a couple comments made like, man, this guy's got the 2022 All-Stars. I'll tell you what, if, this is a big if, but if injuries don't take place, if Christian McCaffrey stays on the field, if Cooper Kupp stays on the field, and we're talking about Cooper Kupp's going to be the big red zone guy, if Devontae Adams, who nobody ever doubts, is on the field, if Mike Evans has some semblance of what he was last year, still one of the most elite receivers in the game, Stephon Diggs still is what he is, no one is going to touch that team. No one. And he still has guys for the future, Franklin and Coker and Johnson. And he did a great job of spending his later rounds on these younger guys. And so I think when I saw your trade, I thought, oh, Big Z's winning now. Dude, in the words of the Rams GM, I'm not going to say it on our podcast, but blank them picks, bro. It is what it is, dude. Like, if you're trying to win now, you can't worry about 2026 picks. You can't worry about it. Just like I was telling Jason today when I was picking my running backs. And granted, we were texting. He's always been a big help to me in fantasy football. But the reason I ended up going running back so often was that I knew that somebody was going to get thirsty for a Nick Chubb. Somebody's going to get thirsty for a James Cook. Somebody's going to get thirsty for the running back depth that I have. And it's going to work out for me because every year, what was the last time we saw CMC enter the league? We haven't. CMC was the last CMC to enter the league. When was the last Saquon we had enter the league? Saquon was the last Saquon we had enter the league. Right? We have not seen these guys come into the league. There's some good young talent. Etienne, he has a chance to be really good. Kenneth Walker, we've seen, he hasn't crossed into that elite echelon yet, but he's got a chance. There are some good running backs, but every year a new receiver comes in with the one-handed catches and the amazing route running. We saw it last year with a guy like Puka Nacua. So you can just play your cards right, man. I don't think you'll regret it at all. I think you
Oh
still
yeah,
find
no.
value in the draft, and it's clearly a win now move. I had a lot of respect for it. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie.
and I like, again, like I kind of, my running backs are, I'm a little older in the running back room as well, but like Mostert and Gus Edwards, like those are like my two flexes right now. Like I
Yeah.
have Bijan and DeAndre Swift, but like if Mostert is anything like just gets half of the touchdowns he did last year, he had 22 touchdowns last year. If he gets 11 and Gus Edwards just stays healthy on the Chargers, who are going to be run heavy,
Right.
bro, like I'm good, you know,
Yeah.
like with my running back room. And so, yeah, I feel good with the Debo thing. I know, like I got a few like texts like, bro, really first. I'm like, yeah, it's a 2026 first though. Like, yeah, you know, it really doesn't bother me right now.
The other thing you got
So
to think is, look, if you have the 1-1 that year, it hurts. I'm not gonna mince words with you. If you have the 1-1 through the
yes, yeah,
1-4, it hurts.
yeah,
But if you're staring down the barrel at 112, like,
yeah,
you know, like
yeah,
1-7, meh, like, is there a chance? And like you said, if there really is a guy that you want to go out and get, you think like, man, this is the dude.
yeah.
You'll trade somebody to go get the 1-1.
Exactly, exactly.
So you'll find whoever has the 1-1 and
Right,
you'll give them whatever they want.
right,
I
right,
want that guy. He's my guy. I'm gonna go get him. Here's my picks. You'll figure it out.
right.
So yeah, I have no problem with it again. But yeah, let's help the people out. Let's help people out. So obviously we drafted. So we're just gonna talk about it. We're not gonna get too deep in the weeds with you guys. You listeners out there, we thank you again for listening. We got a new subscriber. Appreciate you. Love you.
Yeah.
Tell your friends. Tell your family.
Thank you.
Keep subscribing. Listen, wide receivers. Right. This is a value piece of any fantasy football league, especially if you're playing
Right.
dynasty, because they're more likely to stay up. They're more likely to stay healthy. So don't be scared of getting them wide receivers. But we are going to help you out with the top 10. Now, keep in mind,
Right.
as we make this list, we're talking fantasy football. Okay. If we're talking about the best receiver in the NFL right now,
Don't get mad. Don't add us.
right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like
Best receiver.
it's fantasy football.
Right.
And we're going
Best-
out. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. We're doing half PPR. Like that's our format. Half PPR, 3 receiver league. Like that's kind of like what we're talking about here. We're just going to go like, but we're going to offend someone, but like we're truly not trying to.
Right.
It's just we're talking about fantasy football, fake football, people. Okay. So just
Fake football.
yeah, just get over it. We're going to talk about it. It's okay.
If you're a GM and you have any shot at like Justin Jefferson, you're shooting your shot. I mean, that's the reality situation.
Right.
It is what it
Right.
is. So,
but saying that, you switch over to fantasy football
Here we
and you're a
go.
fantasy football GM. I'm going to see the land number 1, bro. This year, and we're talking. I think you want to talk redraft. Like CeeDee Lamb is the number 1 guy in fantasy football, wide receiver wise.
I don't think there's a case that you can make. He had a pretty rough start last year.
Yeah.
His first 4 or 5 weeks was not great, but outside of that, it seems like him and Dak really did pick up their pace. They got on the same level. They were figuring things out. I don't know that anybody could give you a valid argument as to why that wouldn't be the case. I'm not going to lie to you. At some point, you have to look at Dak Prescott being an elite regular season guy. This comparison is going to hurt. I'm not going to lie to you. It's going to hurt a little bit. But when you look at guys like Peyton Manning, right, their numbers are just, until the Broncos, obviously, numbers for long periods of time, so much better in the regular season. Guys like Clayton Kershaw, numbers are so much better in the regular season. There's a lot of reasons that like factor into that. Again, I think Clayton Kershaw is one of the best pitchers to ever exist on the planet. So that's that, like, understand, I'm not trying to take a shot at Dak Prescott. What I'm saying is at some point you realize this dude in the regular season, whatever it is, he has it going on. And the numbers suggest regular season, he has been one of the very best, if not the best quarterback for an entire year at a time. Come the playoffs, it's a different story. That's not what we're discussing here. That's not what we're discussing at all.
And also, if you're comparing CeeDee Lamb and Justin Jefferson, right now, who is throwing to Justin Jefferson? It's Sam Darnold or JJ McCarthy. And so, like, if you have to pick the quarterback who's going to throw to one of those guys, you're going to take Dak, like, every day. 10
all
times
day,
out of 10,
every day.
you're going to take Dak between those.
And if you're not, you're lying to yourself. You're being a Cowboy hater.
Yeah,
look,
exactly.
And I've been there. I still don't believe in Dak. Don't hear anybody at this listen to this podcast. I do not believe in Dak. Come the playoffs, he's going to choke.
Yeah.
Period.
But we're talking about fantasy. Again,
we're talking about fantasy football.
We're talking about redraft fantasy. Your team this year, CeeDee Lamb is number 1.
And he's going to throw enough interceptions. That's the best part about Dak. he's going to throw enough picks that he has to air the ball out.
Right. He does.
So
Yeah.
that's what you want. I 100% agree. I think for sure it's CeeDee Lamb. I will give him his flowers. Right behind him for me is probably Jamar Chase. There's a few reasons that go into that for me, Big Z. I I don't like the Bengals as a team. I was listening to Fantasy Footballers just the other day, and they were talking about there's a good chance that the Bengals could end up at the bottom of this division. When you look across the division as a whole, right, the Browns have done some really great things. They competed without Deshaun Watson. However you feel about Deshaun Watson as a man, as a person, I'm not discussing that. What I am discussing is they competed without him last year, and you have to believe he's not going to hurt their cause. He's not going to hurt them more than an aged Joe Flacco, right? Like that's not, to me, even if he's bad, he's still better than older Joe Flacco, right? So you look at the Steelers team, they upgraded their quarterback. However you feel about Russ Wilson, however you feel about Justin Fields, they got better. Okay, that period.
Yep.
They got better at the quarterback position. So those teams are getting better. So the Bengals, I think, are going to have to throw the ball. I don't think they're going to just raffle stomp people. I don't think they're going to come in and shut people down. So because of that, for that same reason, we've seen the arm talent from Joe Burrow, Joey B. He loves to gunsling. He loves to be the guy. And I think this year is shaping up nicely for him, if he can stay healthy, to have to be that guy, to have to win the game when it matters. And if he's going to win the game, he's throwing a Chase.
Yeah, I'm like, Chase is good. I've had him on my team. He has an injury history though. Like it kind of scares me a little bit. And then also on the other side of him, you have T. Higgins, who is playing on that 5th-year option. He's our franchise tag, actually. He's not going to come back next year. Like, so this is his contract year, essentially. And so I think that plays a factor. They also drafted Jermaine Burton, who's a dog, from Alabama. But he's going to play more in the slot. So, which is not really going to affect Chase. I think that Tyreek Hill is my number 2. I think you put Chase at 3 or 4, like he can play flip flop with Justin Jefferson. But I just think that Tyreek Hill, if you're just talking about this season alone, like he still has that speed, that top level speed that no one else in the game has. And he has consistently been a top 3 receiver when it comes to fantasy football, like since he came in the league with Patrick Mahomes.
Right.
And he's been doing it with Tua. Tua and him just seem to have something that is special. Jalen Waddle, to me, Jalen Waddle is very overrated. Right. He's decent, but him and Tua just don't have the same rapport as Tyreek Hill does. And Tyreek Hill, if you're talking about someone who cannot be guarded like CeeDee Lamb, Tyreek Hill cannot be guarded. Like he's not necessarily the best route runner, but he's going to be faster than you. And because he's so fast and so shifty and so speedy and agile, he doesn't have to be the best route runner because he can pretend like he's going by you. The corner turns his shoulders, he just stops, or he pump fakes, goes that way, and he beats you. He goes past your shoulder. So that's why I think I have Tyreek Hill at number 2. But you really can't go wrong with flip flopping Hill or Chase there. But I just think because of the speed and all that stuff that Tyreek Hill has, and he's also in a contract year, I think for me it puts him over the top of Chase.
So this is probably where I have a bit of a hotter take. This was where the dissension will begin. I for sure had Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, and then Tyreek Hill. And there's actually a very specific reason for that.
Okay.
Tyreek Hill just turned 30. And I know that receivers can continue to play.
That's the rule. That's the rule.
I know receivers can continue to play, but it freaks me out because, again, when we talked about just a second ago, when I believe in a guy like Puka Nacua, when I believe in a guy like Cooper Kupp, when I believe in these guys, it's because of their ability to run routes. Tyreek does not do that. He's openly admitted it. He likes to play video games. He doesn't look at what the other teams do. He's openly admitted, I don't watch film in the other teams. I just go out there and I do what I do. And at 28, 29, I know it's not that big of a year. And Big Z, again, I'm not totally like, dude, if you take Tyreek Hill, you can make an argument to take Tyreek Hill as your number 1.
Oh, yeah.
If somebody went to the draft and said, Tyreek is my guy, I'm taking him at 1-1, okay. Like, I don't think anybody's going to be pissed off at that. It could totally work out. He could, again, go for over 1,500 yards with 9 tutties, and you're going to be super happy. Like, you're going to be fine.
Yeah.
But, again, it has me worried that if there is a step lost, if he's no longer the cheetah and he's just like the cheetah, if he's just like the cheetah,
he'll be only number 4.
Yeah, he's not the cheetah, but he's like the cheetah. Okay. Then he's going to be the number 4 guy. I do think, I will say, this is a very safe offense. You can trust the coach. You can trust their scheme. They're going to get him the ball. He's going to be a dog. But again, you saw the ankle thing start to hamper him a little bit at the end of last year. He's turning 30. I'm a little bit more intrigued, and that's why I went Jamar Chase. And then obviously I did go Justin Jefferson again. Justin Jefferson, I just think he's an elite talent. I don't know that you can just leave him down. I don't know that you can just leave him out regardless of who his quarterback is.
Well,
it's
a great argument because like we're talking up Garrett Wilson and he's like, oh, well, he had Zach Wilson. Yeah, he was so good. So it's the same argument. Like you can't like pick and choose when we make that argument. So like Justin Jefferson's a great talent. Like he is a dog. He'll go up and get there. He's fast. He's a great route runner. And so like regardless of who his quarterback is, he's going to be their only option to throw to.
To me, they got better. Aaron Jones is a better option to me than Madison. So that's the other piece of the pie is that there's another set of legs. There's another set of hands that you have to keep an eye on. Aaron Jones has shown with Green Bay Packers, he can get out into the open. He can do all the things you want to do as a running back. So there's another piece of the pie that you're going to have to keep an eye on as a defense. You can't, you can pin your ears back, but then what happens with Hawkinson? We just saw him. He was tearing teams up. I know he's injured. We'll see when he comes back. But when he does get back, are you just going to let him run free down the seam like everybody else did last year? At some point, you're going to have to take that seriously. You're going to have Aaron Jones tearing you up at the line. So to me, this team did get better at these skill positions besides, obviously, losing Kirk Cousins. Whatever you think about Kirk Cousins, his ability to read the defense and be an intelligent quarterback,
great quarterback
cannot be denied. He is a good old-fashioned pocket QB passer. Not much to look at, not very fast, but he's going to throw the ball, he's going to throw the rock, he's going to sling that thing if you give him that chance. So I still have Justin Jefferson there. Jed is going to eat. That's what he does. That's who he is. He's going to be fine. If you like Justin Jefferson, again, look, on this list, when we're talking about this, don't think, if you're a Minnesota Viking fan, you're going to draft, and you get the 1-1, take your boy. Take your boy.
Yeah, can't go wrong.
Nobody's going to judge you. All right, we're talking about the elite of the elite. We're talking top 10. We're talking top 10. I think on the next one, we might agree on this one. I got Amon-Ra as like the next guy after those four.
Yeah, number 5. Yeah.
Number 5.
Yeah, I'd say so. And the only reason why he's not higher, I think, is because there's just so many other weapons to feed on that offense.
That's the problem. Thank you.
And look, especially with Jared Goff as your quarterback, like Jared Goff loves his tight ends himself. So he loves himself his Sam Laporta. And with Jahmyr Gibbs going to be a lot more involved this year, like from the get-go last year was like, okay, we're going to wait 8 games to unleash this guy. Like then he showed what he could be. This year, like they're not waiting, and they still have Demont behind Gibbs. And it's like, and now with Jameson Williams kind of coming onto the scene, I just like, and again, we're not saying that Amon-Ra St. Brown's going to have a bad year. Like we're still putting in number 5 overall wide receiver.
Right. 100%.
It's just like, there's just a difference. Like if he was the only guy, I'd say he's probably number 1 or 2. But since there's so many other guys there, that's why it's number 5. Still a great talent. Still a dog, but I agree. Number 5.
Dude, that you nailed it. The issue here at this team is that look, if you're a Detroit fan, like it or not, you're going to see, and you're going to start dealing with what Niner fans have been dealing with for the past few years.
Yeah.
What Patriots fans used to deal with when you wanted to draft players to root for them because you wanted to root for your team. Listen, the Lions are going to be about, yes, Dan Campbell's going to have him running through walls every week. I get it. But on some level, they are going to have to be cognizant of getting to the playoffs healthy. And having a healthy Amon-Ra week 1 in the playoffs is significantly more important than making sure everybody knows what a dog he is. Because they already gave him his flowers. They gave him his money. They already signed him. They got him. They locked him up.
Yeah,
so at the end of the day, we're going to get the ball to Jahmyr Gibbs. For the same reason that I love Jahmyr Gibbs in this draft. We're going to talk about running backs later. But I still believe Monty is going. If you don't think that Monty's still going to be a huge part of this offense, you're fooling yourself.
Yeah, right.
Because the Lions they know we don't want Jahmyr Gibbs to go down. Monty is going to touch this rock. Laporta is going to touch the rock. Williams is going to touch the rock. Why? They just saw it happen. Last year, they were 17 up at the half, and the Niners still got it done. And we sat here on our podcast, and we told you, do not wait to unleash Gibbs. And they got to the playoffs, and they tried to unleash him. It wasn't as clean and precise as it could have been. So they're going to have to unleash Gibbs. They're going to have to unleash Williams. They're going to have to unleash all these other pieces to get it going. And the thing is, Amon-Ra is a team guy. He is not going to sit there and hoot and punch people. Dude, hey, let's get W's. That's what he's about, which respect. Respect to him for being a team guy. Doesn't help us in fantasy. But again, no one here is suggesting he's going to have a bad year. We're talking about number 5, okay?
Right.
We're talking about number 5.
There's
He's
10
gonna be
points
fine.
difference between 1 and 5, like overall,
He's gonna be fine. He's gonna be fine.
All right. So number 6, man, like this one's tough.
This is really tough. This is where we get to the weeds. A lot of people said,
Yeah.
oh, the big four. And I was like, dude, it's for sure a big five. You can't, it's a big five. I would be just as happy with Amon Ra. Now,
there's a drop, like you start putting there, like if you're drafting, now you're starting to draft running backs. Like and you're stopping, you're not doing wide receivers for the next couple.
Right here, if Bijan is there, you got to really think about it. I will say this again,
Bijan, CMC,
highlighting the difference between our list and like actual NFL lists. Just I just want to be clear to the NFL, like CBS Sports, AJ Brown is the next best receiver above Amon Ra. So they had AJ Brown at number 5 and then Amon Ra number 6. So that, again, we're already highlighting the differences between fantasy football potentially and the actual NFL. So, but I agree with you. If this is your pick, you got to. I mean, for me personally, this is right now when I'm starting to look at CMC, Bijan Robinson.
I was 5th in our dynasty. I went Bijan right here. Yeah. So I mean, it's dynasty, so it's a little different, but like still, like that's right, because it kind of drops off. It really does. Like again, we're not saying these are bad receivers, but fantasy wise, the production goes down. Yeah, Brees, CMC, Bijan. I'd say, those are the 3 guys. Like, those are the top. Yeah, well, spoiler, but those are the top 3 running backs.
Shocker. Everybody's so shocked.
Shocks.
Plot twist.
But I'm going with Garrett Wilson above. I'm going to Garrett Wilson next, number 6. I just think that with a healthy Aaron Rodgers, and this is a big, like, obviously this is riding on the fact of Aaron Rodgers, that if he stays healthy, then we're good. Like if he doesn't, it's going to drop. He's going to drop down like number 10, 11, 12, whatever it is, like he was last year. But the dude is such a freaking good athlete. Like he's a freak of nature. Right. And he is a great route runner. He is besides, I mean, Breece Hall's on the team, but they added Mike Williams, but Mike Williams is injury prone. And so like if Aaron Rodgers is going to throw the ball to someone, it's going to be Garrett Wilson. And no matter how you feel about Aaron Rodgers, about his off the field antics, the dude is still one of the best football throwers of the football in the league at age 40. And so I just think that Garrett Wilson is going to have himself a year. And he's going to help the Jets out a lot. He's my number 6.
I'm going to tell you why I don't mind it. I would pick a different number 6, but I'm going to tell you why I don't mind it.
Okay.
2022 and 2023, Garrett Wilson eclipsed 1,000 yards.
Right. With
Zach Wilson.
Yes.
I mean, that was intentional silence. That was not like, did they fall asleep with their mics? That was intentional silence. Like, let that sink in. I love it. For me, my number 6, I'm not going to lie to you. I went a little bit homegrown. On a lot of lists, he's not going to be here, people. Don't at me, okay? But to me, I had to give him his flowers. Puka Nacua is coming off the greatest season as a rookie ever. So to me, if I was in this spot, to me, my pick would go down between Bijan and Puka. Look, I want to root for my Rams. I'm a Rams fan, but more than that, I think he can continue to grow and build off of what he did last year. I know a lot of people will say, well, Cooper Kupp was injured. He's not going to be the only guy for parts of the year. Cooper was it. Listen, it's not going to hurt Puka to have Cooper out there. It's just not. They got another rookie. That's not going to hurt him either. You look at Sean McVay's offense. At any given time, he's had 2-3 receivers that are all eating, all ripping it up. Puka Nacua will enjoy having Cooper Kupp take some of that coverage. He'll enjoy Kyron taking some of that coverage. He's going to enjoy that. For me, my number 6 was Kyron. And again, that has a lot to do with, like you said, Big Z, I love the quarterback, Matt Stafford, dude. You look at the greatest seasons there's been the greatest wide receiver year of all time, Calvin Johnson, the greatest rookie season of all time, Puka Nacua. Who is the key factor? Matt Stafford. As long as he's back there, I love it. I don't mind your Garrett Wilson. I will say, and I thought I was going to be a little hot with this, Big Z. I thought I was going to be a little hot with it, but you beat me to it. I had both those dudes over AJ Brown for sure.
I did.
Wilson,
so I have Puka next. I have Puka next. Yeah. So it's.
I thought for the same exact reason, man. Garrett Wilson, he's a stud. We talked about it, man. He's a dog. As long as Aaron Rodgers is healthy, he's going to be a stud. And to me, which Jason the Showman Strowman is somewhere. He told me this, and then he traded him to me. So credit to you, Jason. Credit to you, bro. You're the one who put this in my head to make that trade happen. Garrett Wilson has a chance. He is one of the few receivers that has a chance to go into the sphere of CeeDee Lamb and Jamar Chase skill set wise. He has a chance to be elite. He has a chance to outrun you and run that route to perfection. Puka Nacua is a route guy. He's going to find the open grass. He's going to find the open space. He's going to have big yardage. Cool. I'm down with it. I'm not trying to take a shot at Puka, just like I'm not trying to take a shot at Kupp. At one point, I do believe Kupp was the best receiver in the game a few years ago. Having said that, Garrett Wilson has a chance this year to enter into that number 1 wide receiver conversation. So I also have him above A.J. Brown for that simple reason. I do not see this year A.J. Brown. There's going to be a lot of people who disagree. I get it. There's a big mouth to feed in Saquon Barkley, and I think Devontae Smith is only going to grow. We talked about it before we started recording. They get their new offensive coordinator, Kyler. Oh, my God. I just blanked on his name. We talked about him.
Oh, what is his name? I don't know. He's Cowboy guy.
Cowboys. Come on.
Kellen Moore.
Led Boise State, right? Didn't he lead Boise back in that big crazy win in Oklahoma back then? Anyway, listen, you look at Moore's offense. He loves to feed the slot guy. CeeDee Lamb once upon a time. This is huge. Devontae Smith is going to eat. I think there's a great chance in this offense that Goddard eats. Look at the Cowboys' old tight ends. Goddard's going to eat. There's going to be a lot of mouths to feed, and I'm just here to say, look at what happened to Stephon Diggs last year. They stopped giving him the ball. They started winning games in the Bills, and there was a little bit of a pride issue, a little bit of a hothead issue, a little bit of ego issue to the point where Diggs is no longer there. A.J. Brown, we saw him do it last year on the sideline, yelling at Jalen Hurts. So when Devontae Smith starts to eat, when Goddard is healthy and starts to eat, when Saquon is getting those screen passes out of the backfield, how is A.J. Brown going to respond? I don't see him taking a step forward, Big Z. I'm not going to lie to you. But I did give him his respect. He's right behind Nacua and Garrett for me.
Yeah, number 8. It's good. I agree. You took all my points. The biggest point was he's a hothead, and he's going to get pissed off, and he's going to throw a fit on the sideline when Devontae Smith is scoring all the touchdowns and all that fun stuff. So my next guy, call me crazy, and you think, this guy's old. He's on the bad team. But I like me some Davante Adams here at number 9.
It has to be.
The dude still had Jimmy G last year and Aiden McConnell and Jared Stidham, I believe, for a game or so. And he still was a top 10 wide receiver statistically and in fantasy football. He just knows the game of football. Like, you can tell, there's just so much confidence in the way that he just graces himself on the field, the way he runs routes, the way he catches a football. He's just so good at what he does. And that's going to carry over into this year. And especially with a team who I feel like, they're not going to be the greatest team, but they're definitely turning in the right direction, right? And they're going in the right direction. They're doing what they need to do to grow as a team. And so they know that he's their best weapon. They know 100%. Zamir White's coming on the scene. It's Devontae Adams. You got Brock Bowers. No, it's Devontae Adams. And so Aiden McConnell, especially if he starts, and then you brought in Gardner Minshew, that's still a backup quarterback for his career. If they're in trouble, they're going to throw their guy Devontae. So I have him at number 9. I feel 100% with that. It's good.
I actually like that pick for a slightly different reason. You mentioned it there at the end. I like that pick because Gardner Minshew went there. Gardner Minshew has just already shown us last year with Pittman, right? Pity City. He showed us he can carry an elite wide receiver better than most guys can, right? Anthony Richardson was in there. It didn't look fantastic. Sure, he got targeted a little bit, but it didn't look as good as when Gardner went in there and was just throwing him the ball, throwing him the rock.
Right.
I think Gardner's really great at finding his guy. I will say Pittman, I'm just a little shout out Jason. I don't like him nearly as much this year. I'm just throwing that out there. But again, because Gardner is there, I do like Devontae Adams 100%. I have no problem with that. Honestly, just like we talked about between number 5, 6, 7, and 8, there was a chasm. After 8, again, there's another drop off for me. Right? At number 8, if you're there at that pick, if you're number 9, 10, and again, you got to think running back. You got to get a little bit adventurous. Really take the value that comes to you. Don't just assume, oh, no, I'm going receiver. Don't ever get in the mindset of I got to go receiver first round, because you got to take the value that comes to you. I 100% agree. Big Z, go twice in a row. Who's your number 10? I just want to see. I just want to
Uh,
know.
so I think this one's gonna also piss some people off, but I'm going Drake London.
Okay.
I just last year he had a 23% usage rating, which is a lot for a wide receiver. But I just think with the arrival of Kirk Cousins, like he plays in a dome, Kirk Cousins is going to be really good quarterback for them for the next
Yep.
couple of seasons. He he's going to be producing big numbers. The only thing that kind of kept him down last year was that he didn't score too many touchdowns, and it's because he had Desmond Ritter throwing to him in the red zone. Like, and then they didn't use their guys. They had Johnu Smith throwing passes. Like, they had freaking Arthur Smith as our head coach. Like, so case in point, like now they actually have a good coach, a whole really good system. And just I just think that he's super young, he's very explosive, and he's going to do super well in on that team. And Kirk Cousins is going to feed him the ball a lot. So I'd like Drake London in that pick.
I have no problem with that. I definitely like Drake London. And just again, just to highlight the difference between fantasy football, Garrett Wilson was number 10. Stephon Diggs is at number 9. Brandon Ayuk at number 8. Guys we didn't even mention. Devontae Adams all the way down at number 7. So, just to
Wow.
highlight some differences. For me, again, I think a lot of people aren't going to like this. It is what it is. I think Chris Olave. Last
Yeah,
year we
yeah.
all talked about him as a top 10. We all talked about as taking the next step forward. For whatever reason, it did not work out between him and Derek Carr. What did the Saints do? They go out and they signed Rattler, right? They signed a guy that was supposed to be a lottery pick once upon a time. He got humbled at Oklahoma City, went out to South Carolina, won them some games, did some pretty good things down there. So I think they have Carr's backup in place. They have the kid if they need it. And I think Carr has to understand you are not as important to this offense as Olave. You're just not. Olave
Right.
is going to be there for years after you're gone. You got to feed him the rock. I think at number 10, Chris Olave for me. I know Marvin Harrison. I know a lot of people are sitting there going, what about Marvin Harrison? You guys didn't mention Marvin Harrison. Like, look,
Yeah.
he's a rookie.
Yeah.
We don't know. I cannot put a rookie in the top 10. If you're a guy and you're a Cardinals fan and you're thinking, like, I'm going to go get me Marvin Harrison, I got the number 7 pick. More power to you, man. Go
Right.
with it. Have fun with it. Enjoy it. Oh, I hope it works out for you. It's just rookie sensations can be
Right.
exactly that until they hit the NFL. And then all of a sudden, there may be just another guy, right? So let's see what
Right.
happens with him. But yes, I do think Olave. I like that list, dude. But I have to ask you, Big Z,
Yes, sir.
right? We were looking for sleepers, little more diamond in the rough, right? Maybe somebody that somebody wouldn't pick.
Right.
Who's your guy? Who's going to surprise us this year, Big Z?
I like Nico Collins, man.
Okay.
Like, I guess it's not like too much of a sleeper pick, but like he goes later on in drafts, like rounds 3 and 4 or 5. Like I think he has a chance to sneak into a top 10 and be a league winner for the
Ooh.
Texans. I just think with the emergence of CJ Stroud, of what he was able to do last year with Nico Collins, and every year of his career, he's been able to up his numbers every single year and
Yep.
produce more. I just think that a year under D'Amico Collins or D'Amico Ryans and that whole coaching staff, I think that he kind of cemented himself as the number one weapon on that team. And now you bring in a guy like Joe Mixon, right? And like that's going to help CJ Stroud and Nico Collins because it's going to take less pressure off them, right? So teams are going to have to game
Yeah.
plan to defend against the run, against the screen, against bubble passes, and also Tank Dell, Nico Collins, all those guys as well. It also, Tank Dell didn't have the best offseason. He got hurt in that shooting, but so he didn't have time to really have a full offseason. So I think
Right.
at the beginning of the year, I think Nico Collins is going to be leaned upon a little bit more than Tank Dell will be. So I just think that Nico Collins has a chance to be in the top 10 after when the year's said and done.
100%, man. I'm not going to lie to you, for the same reason that I put AJ Brown all the way down at number 8, and I debated putting him even there, is the same reason I'm going to say I'm going to take a shot on Devontae Smith. His
There we
average
go.
draft position right now is 43.
Okay.
I really
Yeah.
think he's going to do some big things. You get him all the way in around the fourth round,
Yeah. Yeah.
and he has a chance to break into the top 10. He has a chance to emerge as that dude. Now, I'm
Oh, I
not going to
love
sit
him.
here and say he's going to be better than AJ Brown, but there is a world this year, I'm telling you right now, in which he does finish with a better season than AJ Brown. if he can fit into this offense, if he can keep doing little things, if he can stay healthy, keep sliding, keep doing your thing. He's so good at avoiding contact. Keep avoiding contact. Keep doing your thing. I think if you can get that kid around the 4th round, you're not going to be mad at it. So
yeah, I love him. I have him on my team, so I'm very excited about him. So
finishing strong, Big Z. Little baseball news. If those of you don't know, we love us some baseball here. We love us some baseball, and the races are getting tight, Big Z. AL wild card right now. Right now, AL wild card. You have 4 teams. Dang. 4 teams, all within 3 games of one another. You got the Royals, the Twins, the Red Sox, and the Mariners. Honorable mention to the Rays. Only 4.5 back of that. Somehow they're always in the hunt. Doesn't matter who they give up or trade. Somehow they're always in the hunt. The Rangers are sitting 8 outside. So that's kind of crazy. But again, we're all the way in August now. So no longer is it, you can't lose it in May. Oh, it's only June. Yeah, okay, July. All right, let's start to see.
No,
now it's August.
Yep.
August,
Dog
September.
Over. Yep.
August, September, and then October when the baseball really gets going with the playoffs. So it's going to be a battle, Big Z. The Orioles, the Yankees.
I love the AL East. I love the AL East battle, man. It's both teams doing so much of the trade deadline. I love the Yankees trade. They got Jazz Chisholm, who since they've got him, they've won 6 in a row. He's hit 4 home runs, and he only had 4 home runs in the last 50 days with the Marlins, and all of a sudden he has 4 home runs. He's playing for a contender, right? And you see this all the time. Like when Justin Verlander got traded from the Tigers in 2017 to the Astros, dude just started balling again, right? It's you just see this. His dog has been woken up, and he wants to play because he wants to win the World Series, and he's a perfect fit for the Yankees. And so I love the back and forth that they're doing because they're tied, really atop the AL East, the Yankees and the Orioles. So I was watching. It's fun to watch, man.
I was watching them play the Phillies just the other night, and he was responsible for 5 of their runs. Right, he is the reason that they won that game. Just an absolute dog, and that's the perk of going to another team. Change the scenery. Now all of a sudden you don't have to be the guy. They got Juan Soto. They got Aaron Judge. You ain't got to be the guy. Those are the guys. Let them be the guys. You just have fun, play baseball, smile, dance, run around the bases. The NL side, just as close, if not closer. Right. You've got the Padres, the Diamondbacks, the Mets, the Cardinals, and the Pirates, all within 2 games of each other.
Pirates, dude.
All within 2 games of each other. Yep, the Pirates, 55 and 53, still plus 500. Again, that is anyone's race. That is massive. That is, we're going to see that move around for sure. Before the end, teams get hot, teams get cold. I can't wait, dude. You talk about the Mets again. Horrible start of the season. They've been hunting down a spot ever since. I do believe they are going to squeak in there. So we're going to see. We're going to see who finishes with them. The Cardinals, great organization. The Pirates playing some great ball. I think they just took out the Braves just the other day. Yeah. So they're playing some good ball too. It's going to be interesting to watch.
And the Astros. Yeah. It pumps me up. This is why baseball is awesome, is because if you look at a team like the Royals, they had 56 wins all of last season, and they already have 61 wins, and we're on August 1st. Boom. This year. That's how amazing it is. Bobby Witt Jr. And the only reason why, unless you're a baseball fan, you talk about Bobby Witt Jr., but just casual fans do not know who Bobby Witt Jr. is. No. Dude, this guy is hitting 350, 20 home runs, 78 RBIs, 1,002 OPS. It's just balling, dude. That's why baseball is so awesome. I love it. A team like the Royals, a team like the Pirates can be in the playoff. A year prior to that, they were bottom feeders in the league, and now they're about to make the playoffs. That is why people should just freaking cling on to baseball more, because it just, I don't know, it's able to bring a city together, and you just have all these good young players that are just phenomenal at their craft. And so I love it. I can't wait. This is definitely the best time to be a sports fan. Now with the NFL coming back, fantasy football, baseball now in the home stretch. Ooh, it's good, man. It's going to be fun.
Oh, yeah. It's already starting to feel like playoff baseball. I love it. Big Z, this has been a fun episode. Say bye to the people.
Yeah, people. It's been great. Trade deadline was last week. shout out to the Dodgers going big in Jack Flaherty as a Dodger fan. Gotta say it, love it. But they're struggling, so they gotta wake up. But love you guys. Hope you guys have a great week. Have a good weekend, and we're gonna be here now every single week. So keep looking out at us.
We are going to be here. We love watching us some football. We love hanging out. We love you. Check us out. Follow us on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram. All that good stuff. Have a great night, great day, wherever you are. Thanks for listening. And you're amazing.